December 11, 2025. History is rewritten as Ukrainian forces seize Sudzha, a Russian town in Kursk Oblast. This unprecedented move marks a significant shift in the dynamics of the conflict, a war that has seen countless battles, but rarely such a bold incursion into Russian territory. The capture of Sudzha is not just a military maneuver, it's a statement, a declaration that Ukraine is no longer on the defensive. This is no mere raid, it's a sustained occupation, a stunning reversal in a war long defined by attrition. Ukrainian forces are not just passing through, they are digging in, setting up checkpoints, and establishing a presence that suggests they plan to stay. The streets of Sudzha, once quiet, now echo with the sounds of Ukrainian military vehicles and the footsteps of soldiers. The world is forced to reassess. Ukraine now holds Russian territory, shattering the Kremlin's aura of invincibility. News outlets around the globe are abuzz, headlines screaming about the unexpected turn of events. Political analysts and global leaders are scrambling to understand the implications. The Kremlin, once seen as an unassailable fortress, now appears vulnerable. Social media explodes with images of Ukrainian flags over Russian buildings, disbelief turning to confirmation as Kiev announces victory. Videos and photos flood the internet, showing the Ukrainian flag proudly flying over Sudzha's buildings. The digital age ensures that news travels fast, and the world watches in real time as history unfolds. The psychological shock is immense. Russians see their own soil lost. Ukrainians glimpse leverage never before held. In Moscow, the news is met with disbelief and shock. In Kiev, there is jubilation and a newfound sense of hope. The emotional impact is profound, altering the psyche of both nations. For Ukraine, this is a bold gamble, risking escalation but signaling a new phase of confidence and capability. Military commanders are seen strategizing, aware of the risks but buoyed by the success. The capture of Sudzha is a testament to their planning and execution, a bold move that could change the course of the war. Western allies face a dilemma: support Ukraine's advance or fear provoking a cornered Moscow. Diplomatic circles are abuzz with discussions, weighing the pros and cons of supporting Ukraine's bold move. NATO officials and Western diplomats are in tense meetings, trying to navigate the complex geopolitical landscape. The capture of Sudzha marks not the end, but a volatile new beginning in this war. The front lines have shifted, and with it, the stakes. As the world watches, the conflict enters a new, unpredictable phase, one that could redefine the future of both nations. To grasp the weight of a Ukrainian flag over Sudzha, we must confront centuries of tangled history. Ukraine's identity has long been denied by Moscow, its culture suppressed, its independence dismissed as a historical fluke. The trauma of the Holodomor and the devastation of World War II forged a fierce Ukrainian desire for sovereignty. Since the Soviet collapse, Russia has sought to reverse Ukraine's independence, annexing Crimea, fueling war in Donbass, and denying Ukraine's right to exist. Putin's invasion is the latest chapter in this imperial project. The capture of Sudzha is more than military, it's a defiant assertion of Ukrainian agency after generations of subjugation. History itself is being rewritten on the battlefield. The Sudzha operation will be studied for years, a masterstroke of speed and surprise. Before dawn, Ukrainian drones blinded Russian command centers, while armored brigades punched through thinly defended borders. Russia's best troops were far away, leaving conscripts and National Guard units to collapse in confusion. Ukrainian forces encircled Sudzha, offering surrender or destruction. The Russian garrison quickly capitulated. By nightfall, Ukraine held the town, forcing Russia to scramble resources to its own border. The war's rules have changed. Ukraine now dictates the tempo. In the small Russian border town of Sudzha, life has been turned upside down. The streets, once quiet and familiar, are now filled with the steady march of Ukrainian troops. The town is suspended between fear and disbelief, its residents caught in a moment that feels both unreal and inescapable. Every corner, every alley, is watched over by soldiers whose presence is both a reassurance and a reminder of the uncertainty that now defines daily life. For the people of Sudzha, the world they knew has vanished overnight. Russian civilians, many of whom have spent years absorbing state propaganda, now find themselves face to face with the very forces they were taught to fear. The shock is palpable. Some stare in disbelief, others whisper anxiously among themselves, trying to make sense of a reality that defies everything they've been told. Amid the tension, Ukrainian forces move carefully, distributing food, water, and medical supplies. Their goal is not just to maintain order, but to win the trust of a population that views them with suspicion. They hope to avoid the devastation and chaos that has scarred so many other cities in this war, offering a different path, one of cautious outreach and humanitarian aid. But outside the town's fragile calm, the war rages on. Russian artillery pounds the outskirts, sending plumes of smoke into the sky, and constant reminders that peace here is precarious. The threat of escalation looms over every conversation, every attempt at normalcy. Inside Sudzha, reactions are mixed. Some residents accept medicine and supplies with gratitude, their faces etched with relief. Others remain paralyzed by fear and confusion, unsure whether to trust the new authorities or cling to old loyalties. The uncertainty is overwhelming and the community is deeply divided. The Ukrainian administration faces a daunting challenge. They must defend the town, provide for its needs, and persuade a wary population that cooperation is possible. Every meeting with local residents is a delicate negotiation, every gesture of help a test of intentions. "We are not here to punish," says a Ukrainian officer, his voice steady but resolute. "We want to free our own people, and we want to show that a different future is possible, even here." Sudzha has become a test case for what occupation might look like in this war. Its outcome could shape not only the fate of this town, but the direction of the conflict itself. The world is watching to see what happens next. The fate of Sudzha hangs in the balance. It is a microcosm of the war's human cost, a place where hope, fear, and uncertainty collide in every home and on every street. For now, survival and uncertainty rule daily life in Sudzha. Each day brings new questions, and the answers remain painfully out of reach. The Kremlin's silence after Sudzha's fall spoke volumes, shock and confusion at the top. State media ignored the disaster, then scrambled to spin it as a minor raid or a trap for Ukrainians. But undeniable footage forced a shift. Humiliation and panic seeped into the public sphere. Putin's image of strength is shattered. Critics, even hardliners, openly question the regime's competence. Moscow launches a disinformation blitz, blaming NATO and threatening escalation, even hinting at nuclear options. The regime's grip on the narrative is slipping, replaced by desperation and fear. Sudzha's capture jolts world capitals. Washington and Brussels scramble for answers. Western leaders, long wary of escalation, now face the reality of Ukraine holding Russian territory. Europe urges restraint, while Eastern allies cheer Ukraine's audacity. China calls for calm, wary of Russia's weakness. The global south fears wider fallout. The dilemma: support Ukraine's boldness or urge withdrawal to avoid catastrophe. For Ukraine's allies, Sudzha is both a risk and an opportunity, perhaps the leverage needed for real negotiations. The world holds its breath, uncertain what comes next. Markets reel as Sudzha's capture sends oil and gas prices soaring, exposing global economic fragility. Russia's economy stumbles. Ruble plunges, stock markets freeze, and confidence evaporates. The Kremlin must now divert resources to defend its own soil, straining an already battered budget. For Ukraine, the victory signals resilience, potentially unlocking new aid and investment. Yet, a prolonged fight for Sudzha could devastate both economies and threaten global stability. The stakes are higher than ever. One town's fate could tip the world toward recession. The economic war now matches the military one in intensity. For the people of Sudzha, a quiet border town, the war that once seemed a distant echo has now become an inescapable reality. The sound of artillery and the sight of soldiers in the streets have shattered the illusion of safety that many clung to. Daily life is now punctuated by uncertainty, as families peer anxiously from behind curtains, wondering what tomorrow will bring. Ivan, a retired Russian, sits in his modest apartment, his hands trembling as he tries to make sense of the chaos. "All my life, I believed our army was strongest. I never imagined I'd see foreign troops on my own street, or that my home would become a frontline. Now, Ukrainian soldiers patrol the roads he once walked to the market. The familiar has become foreign, and Ivan's sense of belonging is shaken. His son, stationed far away in Donetsk, is fighting in a war that has now come home. Ivan's world is upended, torn between worry for his child and fear for his own safety." In Kiev, Katerina clutches her phone, tears streaming down her face as she listens to the news. She weeps with a mix of pride and dread. "It feels like justice, but I fear the missiles that will come. Every victory brings new risks, and I worry for my family every night." Both Ukrainian and Russian soldiers steel themselves for what's next, knowing that every advance could trigger a devastating response. Their victories are shadowed by anxiety, as the threat of escalation looms over every decision. Humanitarian groups warn of catastrophe. Civilians are trapped between shifting front lines, supplies are dwindling, and danger lurks around every corner. Aid workers struggle to reach those in need as the risk of violence grows. The psychological toll is immense. For Ukrainians, there is a fleeting sense of empowerment, a moment to reclaim hope, but it is always tempered by the fear of what might follow. For Russians, the shock is profound, a shattering of long-held beliefs and a sudden confrontation with the harsh realities of war. The pain of war now stretches across the border, binding families in grief and uncertainty. In this grim, unwanted kinship, both sides are forced to reckon with loss and fear. Fear, anger, and loss define this new front line. In basements and shelters, civilians huddle together, their faces etched with worry, their futures uncertain. The human cost is impossible to ignore. Every destroyed home, every wounded body, and every tear shed is a stark reminder that the true price of war is paid by ordinary people on both sides of the border. As Suja's dust settles, the world asks, is this a turning point or a dangerous gamble? Ukraine has seized the initiative, shattering the stalemate and gaining leverage for negotiations. But the risks are enormous. A humiliated Russia may escalate, even resort to catastrophic measures. Some analysts see Russian forces stretched thin. Others warn Ukraine may have overreached. The outcome will be written in the coming weeks: hope for peace, or a spiral into greater violence. One thing is clear: the war has entered a new, unpredictable chapter. The old rules are gone, and nothing will ever be the same. The world watches, breath held, as history unfolds.